Welcome to Toronto, Ontario, which is currently playing host to Cirque du Soleil's latest big top production right there behind me. And tonight, you, me, and the rest of the world are going along for the ride. We're about to find out what happens when you combine sports like parkour, BMX, and trials biking with the creation, showmanship, and performance that Cirque du Soleil is famous for. This is VOLTA. In 1984, a small group of acrobats took to the streets of Bay St. Paul, Quebec, and since then, the makeshift costumes and raw talent have transformed into the epic global juggernaut that is now Cirque du Soleil. Now, when most people think of Cirque, they envision the Las Vegas residency shows that have dominated the strip for years. From Ode to Humanity, Ka to MJ1, if there's one thing Cirque's known for, it's spectacle. Acrobats, unique costumes, an epic soundtrack, and a blend of circus styles from around the world that have their own common theme and story. Now, these have all been part of the ingredients of the secret sauce for Cirque since day one. But VOLTA is a little bit different. And tonight, we're gonna give you a sneak peek in what it took to put this show together. For one, this is a big top style Cirque show, so everything takes place under this massive traveling coliseum, so fans around the world will have the chance to see the show in their own city. Combine that with the fact that VOLTA is the first time the Cirque is integrating athletes from the action sports world, and you have another one-of-a-kind show. Now, with that being said, the question that's on everyone's mind is, can riders like Trevor Badeau, AJ Anaya, and Ryan Guzman Vlog make the transition from athlete to Cirque du Soleil performer?
We are in the headquarters of Cirque du Soleil in Montreal, Quebec, for the show VOLTA, the new Cirque du Soleil production for Big Top.
VOLTA is an homage to the free spirit in all of us. It's a show about bringing out and finding our true free.
It's finding what makes you happy and following that, chasing that, pursuing your dreams and your goals.
The very first intention we had was to do a meaningful show, something that can be useful to people and really inspire them, give them the strength to act and do something even better with their lives.
VOLTA means a change in direction, so that's what our show is about. The main character who leads a life in one direction, and he's putting on this fake persona, and through introduction of different characters, he breaks free.
Dance, baby, dance like the world is.
When I think of Cirque du Soleil, what comes to mind is creativity and imagination.
When I think of Cirque, I think of like stunts.
Things that couldn't really happen in real life that actually happen in front of your eyes.
I think of magic.
I think of like great costumes, great music.
Colorful.
Dance, baby, dance like the world is ending. Dance,
Flexible.
Twisty. Bendy.
Weird.
dance, baby, dance like the world is ending. Dance,
BMX stunt. Park, skate park.
Yeah. Like
It's like,
oh, that is
really
so cool.
yeah.
Flips.
Awesome.
Monkeys.
Fun.
Crazy.
Think of falling, because that's what I would do.
VOLTA means a change in direction. It's a theme that you'll see throughout the storyline of the show, but can also be used to describe the artistic approach that Cirque took to this groundbreaking new production.
In the creative process, we got really inspired by the energy of action sports, that freedom of just going for things that you want to do, and this passion that action sport practitioners just seem to exude. So we want to keep that and really try to harness that power.
I think having a dynamic stage allows us to bring those action sports into a reality. When you're lifted up and you have no room for error, it just like puts a whole level of risk and difficulty, and it just makes that act so much more powerful.
Arms up a little bit more.
We're extremely happy to collaborate with super top Red Bull athletes to have this very productive exchange together.
We've got a huge cast here. There's over 40 performers, and everyone has their own disciplines, their own characters, their own styles.
We want to pay tribute to the real essence of these sports, to the real culture. Obviously, we want to do it our way, with our costumes, our music, our language.
The music is amazing, and I want to do a lot of choreography for this show because each music I'm in love with.
And what we got was just an incredible score that's very different from other Cirque du Soleil scores, but that still retains that poetry, that epic sensation.
It's obviously about high performance, but it's not just high performance. It's about poetry. It's about people thinking about bringing poetry back to their lives as well.
I would really expect people to say, okay, I was not expecting that at all from Cirque du Soleil, but that was super cool. That's really something we would dream of achieving.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, chill. Yeah, yes. Good.
All right, guys, I'm gonna try to keep a low profile and blend in as I'm currently backstage in the artist tent, and you can definitely feel the pre-show excitement all around me. On September 1st, they raised the big top here in Toronto, and it takes a small army of technicians and crew to get this show ready. All around me, the performers are getting mentally and physically prepared. I just saw BMX rider Joel Bondu, slackliner Dina Sock, and trials bike rider Trevor Badeau all getting their final touches before they hit the stage. It's been a long road for these performers to get to this point, from being selected in casts to months of rehearsal and revision, and for some of them, the most difficult part in learning how to transition from being an athlete to an on-stage performer.
It's very hard in our world to assume who you want to be, what you want to do. You know, our world doesn't really celebrate difference today. Actually, it's harder and harder. And this show is really about that. It's about embracing very truly unique personalities and daring and taking these wings to fly high.
That's what the free spirit characters are in our show. The free spirits embody that notion of being connected with who you are, but also being part of a community.
Try to be a little bit more relaxed. Okay? A little bit more free.
My name is RIKKI CARMAN, and I do parkour in Cirque du Soleil. Some of the challenges that we have is working with so many people. Parkour is normally sort of a solo sport, so it's crazy having 9 people in such a small space. We're trying to weave in and out of each other and keep it interesting as well, you know, while weaving out of each other.
And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Working with Julie, it's a really nice work. It's precise. She really tell you where to go, so you won't. What is this? Collide with somebody. You always know what to do when Julie is there.
I don't want them to think. I want them to feel. That's what I want. Because everything is failing. You're starting to learn something, the choreography, the step, you just do it because you know and you feel it. And I hope the audience feel the same when they see the show. Let's go. 5, 6, 7, 8.
And we've had so many iterations of our routine so far. We come up with an idea and we just try it, and then we scrap it, we'll try a new idea, and we just find things that work. And then we've had so many iterations because there's so many possibilities on a stage like that.
The most unique thing about this staging on VOLTA, the first is the bridge, which is a massive piece of equipment. It can carry 8 people and all of the lighting equipment, so we get up to around 5,000 pounds, run by 2 winches, 1 on either side. The most interesting thing are the lifts. We're running 3 3-axis lifts, so each axis is a scissor. There's also a turntable, a rotating aspect that goes around the outer part of the stage. It's money. It's beautiful. It's a piece of art, that one right there.
I never see a stage like this before. It's like lift going up and down, bridge and everything.
Those are all features that you never really would experience being a free runner in the city. So it's cool, we're just getting out of our comfort zone and finding new lines and new moves that we wouldn't have found. We can be super creative and we can approach the same obstacle in a different way just because it's on a different angle. It's just an amazing opportunity to grow.
2, 2, 3, 4.
I feel like the fun that we have and that companionship is sort of what makes the show good. It's gonna show through when we're on stage.
Now that's a little insight into what it took to develop the parkour act, and we're actually gonna be joined by one of the athletes himself and a good friend, Mr. RIKKI CARMAN. What's up, man?
What's up, Travis?
Man, so you're about to hit the stage in a few moments, and my question for you is, what's the difference between doing parkour outside and taking it to a stage like Cirque?
So for me, the biggest difference is inspiration. It's so cool being able to go out there on stage and inspire thousands of people at a time. I know it's amazing. It's such a gratifying feeling to go out there and hit a flip and then slide out and give a kid a high five and you see his face light up. It means so much to him.
Totally, man. Now, I know parkour is usually all about being spontaneous and adapting to your environment. So what's it like being on the same stage every day? Can you take more risks because of that?
For sure. You know, a lot of it is just getting used to your routine. You don't want to get hurt. But then after you get used to it, you have the ability to freestyle and, you know, make the lines harder and develop and grow as you know, get used to the stage and the environment. And yeah.
Sounds good, man. Now, they call the parkour section of the show Rise and Shine, and here's a little sneak peek. You got to get on stage, man. Enough talk, go kill it. I'll see you out there. All right, guys, we just saw Rikki and the rest of the parkour crew hit the stage, and it was absolutely insane. I couldn't be prouder. Coming up next, we got BMXing and trials biking, so stick with us.
Hidden in the bustling cities of the world are incredible artists waiting to be discovered.
I love entertaining people.
Step out into the streets, see the talent, feel the passion, be amazed. Your street, my stage. All episodes available on Red Bull TV.
Thank you guys so much.
Austin, Texas. Live music capital of the world. 8 stages, a diverse lineup, the ultimate festival experience. Choose between multiple channels. Austin City Limits, 2017, October 6th, 7 p.m. on Red Bull TV.
So the main man in VOLTA is a character by the name of Waz. Now, even though Waz is a huge star, he's racked with doubts about where his life is going. It's a story that anyone who's ever striven for success can associate with. And over the course of the show, Waz is going on a journey from the world of the elites to the world of free spirits. Joining me now is someone who at first glance many may consider to be a free spirit himself, but his full-time gig means he gets to surf some of the heaviest and gnarliest waves on the planet. What's up, Romano? How you doing?
What's up? Good to see you.
You too, man. I'm gonna cut to the chase. You're from Tahiti. They flew you 36 hours over to Montreal in the dead winter. What was that like?
I mean, for a Polynesian Tahitian coming all the way to Montreal, it was really cold. And then I had my sandals, which were used to it, and I ended up in Montreal, and that was insane, beautiful.
Oh, I totally understand how that goes. Now, you worked with 2 performers that had never, ever been in the water, let alone surfing with the board. What was that like trying to teach them the fundamentals outside of the water?
I mean, the fundamental I was teaching them is first the position on the board, and then second the balance, which is really important for their show, for the surf adagio. And then at first I arrived, we were teaching them how to really paddling good on the board, and then once they stand up, I wanted to know like which foot was going in front, left or right, because, you know, that's where, you know, standing on surfing is 1 foot forward and 1 in the back. And then that was it, you know, and the rest came out the balance, which is they got it really perfectly right away.
Sounds good. Well, seems like whether or not you're in the water or out of the water, it all comes down to basics and fundamentals. Ray's dropping some knowledge on us, but for more of an inside look on the collaboration, check this video out.
My name is Loria Renato. I do the surf adagio and bungees in VOLTA.
What I was hoping we could do is to maybe break down the sequence. Some acts we bring in have a basic concept already in place, and we adapt it to our show. Other acts we bring in, and we have to develop the entire thing from square one.
All together. Perfect. Let's go. My name is Raymond van Bassoulaire, and I'm a professional surfer. We are here at Cirque du Soleil to help Ruby and Lori get better at their surfing style. Keep moving like this, okay? Yeah.
I've actually never surfed because I'm a little bit afraid of the ocean. I feel like it's important for my job and to portray it on stage the way it really is.
Style is so important to surfing because that's where it starts before you do any maneuvers. Yes. The way it is right now, it looks good, as long as it's here, you know?
I'm in awe of the Red Bull athletes. They're just totally pushing the boundaries, riding the biggest waves. It does make you kind of push yourself a lot, you know.
Okay, right there, come back now. You can maneuver a board when you're bringing your feet to same level.
Okay.
You can, you're not gonna be able to surf like this, you know?
I wouldn't have really thought changing my feet would impact the board so much. I think it was very important for the authenticity of the scene to kind of get that information.
So we'll run the automation.
So when we saw the stage, it was like, oh my God, it's gonna be tricky. They was a little bit stressed. There is no margin for error. Robbie cannot move much, because or else we fall. If you're on a surfboard, you fall in the water, but if we fall now, we get hurt.
1, 2, and then boom. 1, 2, go. Right there, okay?
I really like how he thinks when he was coaching me.
Don't think, just do it.
I can see that he thinks that way when he's surfing the waves.
Look forward, brother, if you can look forward, surfing, if you can. Yes.
He knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing.
That's insane. Yes. Perfect.
Nice, that's good, that's so good.
It's very, very inspiring. Total surf Yoda.
And smooth.
Good, that was it.
Yeah.
We take a lot of creative liberties and do things our own way, but at the foundation of it all, we really want to try to be true to these disciplines in action sports.
Yes.
Good. The whole creation, it's a work in progress. We do a lot of design work and preparation and planning early on. And the initial thought was that this was something that we wanted to feature, and it fits very, very well within the narrative of the story. Of course, we hope that the Surf Adagio number will make the final cut for this show, but until we actually get the act on stage, incorporated and integrated with all the other elements on the stage, the music, the lights, the sound, all the other acrobatics, we won't know. So, of course, we hope so, but time will tell.
Now, in this official program, there's a line that says, "In order to rise from the ashes, a phoenix must first burn its wings." Michael, you're the artistic director, so I have to ask you a question and get real for a second. I noticed that the Surf Adagio act didn't make it into the final cut. What happened there?
You know, we set out to capture action sports, and the whole reason for doing that was because it's kind of the grandfather of action sports. It's the first one, but we have a live performance on stage. However, we tried to simulate a surfboard moving in the water. It didn't work, and then it ended up looking like a normal adage, so it wasn't special.
With that being said, one of the things we've talked to a lot of athletes about today is how they've made the transition to performing on stage. How did the action sports athletes hold up to the Cirque standard?
Interesting journey, interesting journey. The whole idea of the show was to also bring in the freedom that exists in these sports. And with that, we had to adjust our techniques and what we know of how to get performance out of them. When they do something, it's an expression of who they are. And I think that it was very important to capture that and keep that. So we've adapted to bring that spirit on stage. It has to exist. Without that, the show won't have the same impact.
Well, looks like they're in good hands. Now, for a lot of the people that are in the audience tonight, they've seen Cirque shows, which some of them relate to being almost like modern art, but VOLTA is a little bit different, and we kind of touched on that. So how did you guys bring the story front and center?
Every single artist in the show who comes from action sports wants to be an individual. If we go back 100 years, everybody wanted to conform. Now they don't. And it's about finding the courage to celebrate your difference. By celebrating your difference, everybody has their own genius. And until you are comfortable with that, you can't celebrate that to the world. So that's why the story has to complement the philosophy behind what we chose to do as acrobatics. And again, the story has developed as we've gone along, the same as the acrobatics has, the same as the choice of disciplines that are in the show. The theme stays the same. It's still a celebration of the individual. How we tell that story has evolved, and if we feel something doesn't read and really impact the audience the way we would like to, we look at how we can change that.
Of course. All right, well, I couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks a lot, Michael. Can't wait to see the rest of the show.
Good. Bye-bye.
Now, behind us here, the show has already started, and you can probably hear the music going. We're just a few moments away from Highline act Dina Sock hitting the stage, but joining me now is world champion slackliner Alex Mason. What's up, Alex?
Not much.
Man, so I heard Cirque brought you in to exchange ideas with Dina, but before we get to that, let's take a look at what makes your sport of slacklining so unique.
My name's Alex Mason. I'm a slackliner, and I'm from El Cerrito in California. So slacklining or tricklining is kind of a cross between gymnastics and a tightrope. It's really easy to imagine it as a 2-inch trampoline. I got into slacklining through rock climbing. I would come to the gym and climb a lot, and to rest, I would kind of noodle around on the line a little bit, and kind of realized I liked it a lot and started to gravitate more towards slacklining than rock climbing.
So Alex, you're from California, Dina's from Cambodia. You're more of a specialist while he's more of a multidisciplinist. Was the biggest barrier language or athletically?
The biggest barrier was definitely athletic. He's from a gymnast background, which is kind of specific in its own way. It's a very certain kind of movement. And I'm from a very specific slacklining background, which is a different kind of movement. And so just trying to communicate how to move, even with the language barrier, wasn't that difficult because we had a translator on site and I could kind of show him what I meant. But just kind of hammering it into his head of like little things he needed to do was much more challenging.
All right, well, highlining isn't anything new to the circus, but slacklining definitely is. So what's the biggest differences between the two disciplines?
So the biggest difference, obviously, is height, but it's also, there's a backup rope on the highline, so it's a little heavier. There's a leash attached to your harness. You're 45 feet up, you're a lot more scared, and the lights are, constantly moving. And so you have this physical element of the line being heavier and the leash and having to know where that is whenever you're going to do a movement. But you also have this psychological terror, you're scared, your feet are shaking and all that. And so it's the combination of the two, just bigger stakes and more to deal with.
Man, I can only imagine what it's like being that high up there. Well, let's take a look at what it was like when you and Dina met for the first time in Montreal.
Je m'appelle Dina et je viens du Cambodge. Et dans le cirque, ce que je fais... En fait, je fais plus comme généraliste. Je fais fil de fer, shape diving, puis je fais slackline, hauteur à 25 ou 28 pieds.
Dina is unique in that he comes with both a technical background and an artistic background. He does a lot of street dancing, so he brings that to the tight wire. And when you mix the two, you get something that's both technical and dancey at the same time.
Ça fait genre 2 mois que j'ai essayé à faire slackline, avec du slackline, parce que normalement, je fais fil de fer. Et fil de fer puis slackline, c'est vraiment comme différent.
Make sure you breathe, Dina, easy.
In terms of teaching him, it's not that big of a challenge because he sort of has everything that he needs to go on stage and perform. He's a seasoned performer, I would say. What he needs is a little bit of guidance in terms of technique, trainings, to get to his full potential.
My name's Alex Mason. I'm a professional slackliner with Red Bull from El Cerrito, California.
Hey, hello. How's it going? How are you? I'm Alex. Dina Sock. Nice to meet you.
Ce matin, quand je l'ai vu, puis avec un sourire qui vient, comme ça me donne plus comme confiance. On y va.
When I first started slacklining, I learned from kind of the best in the world. I got to travel around a lot from competition to competition, and I get all these different tips and tricks. So hopefully I can bring what I've learned over the years to him, and he can take that and learn quicker.
Il saute partout. Comme ce matin, il fait beaucoup de trucs que j'ai jamais fait avant.
We've been working on how to do a chest bounce and little adjustments that he can do to kind of get more comfortable on the line. Things like how you place your feet, where to spot the line. Follow the line until you can't see it anymore.
Okay.
And all these kind of small things that come together to make a huge difference. Try getting your power from your shoulders.
Des fois, ça marche pas, je suis tombé, n'importe quoi. Ben, c'est ça qu'on apprend. Il faut prendre des risques pour avoir des choses.
Yeah, that'll happen. Dina is just kind of all around really, really talented. Kind of unfairly so, actually. When you're flipping off the line, you have to wait a little bit. I was pointing out new things, and he was learning them so unbelievably quickly that I may not have a job in the next year or so. So let's try this on the high line. I'm a little worried, actually. Yeah, why not? Up on the Highland, it's a little nerve-wracking.
Je vais avoir genre la ceinture pour me protéger parce que on voit pas que je tombe. Comme la première fois quand j'étais là, je me demandais pourquoi je fais ici. Comme wow, aussi haut. J'ai jamais genre monté aussi haut comme ça et puis j'ai marché sur une ligne genre très mince.
Oh God, I really don't want to do this right now. Dina has to figure out where his leash is at all times.
Can I see a butt bounce? Just a quick, easy butt bounce.
Parce qu'une fois qu'on saute, comme la ceinture, ça prend comme il y a un maximum qui peut allonger. Ben, si par exemple je partais un peu trop haut, ça va être genre retirer et redescendre, puis je vais tomber après. I need to like do more on the small line.
Yeah. Just practice more with the leash.
Next time when you see me, I can do it.
Now, I noticed things got a little tense the higher you guys got up there. Now, do you still get nervous as a world champion?
Absolutely, yes. Highlining is terrifying. And the higher you get up there, the more kind of shaky you get. You have to remind yourself that you've done this thousands of times before, but height definitely adds a psychological fear element to it, so yes.
All right, now when you left Cirque headquarters, I know Dina still had a little work to do on the high line, but I heard he still had some other tricks up his sleeve.
Yeah, he's an amazing tumbler. He has a tightrope routine. He jumps through hoops, quite literally. He can juggle. He really does it all.
Awesome, man. Well, why don't you head into the big top and let's see if Dina can pull this off.
Sounds good, man.
Later. Wow, nice job, Dina. Super impressive seeing that guy's athleticism. All right, guys, coming up next, we're going to two wheels, trials and BMX right after this.
Once again, the iconic Greek island of Santorini transforms into parkour paradise. The best freerunners compete to create the perfect course across whitewashed rooftops. With style, flow, and acrobatic skills. Red Bull Art of Motion, live. October 7th, 1 p.m. on Red Bull TV.
My name's Adam Trent. I've traveled the world performing magic on the biggest stages, but now I'm stepping out of the spotlight and hitting the streets of Europe. I want to test the true power of my magic, to find out if it'll connect me to unique cultures, amazing people, and once-in-a-lifetime experiences that money cannot buy. This is the road trick.
All episodes available on Red Bull TV.
All right, guys, Act 1 is done, which means it's time for intermission. Now, since VOLTA was conceived, the idea has always been to integrate action sports in an authentic way. To do that meant consulting with some of the best athletes in the world, like world champion trials bike rider, Kenny BELAEY. What's up, Kenny?
Hey, Travis, how are you?
Awesome, man. Now, thanks for joining us. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're a 4-time elite world champion?
Yeah, and 5 times at the youth category as well, and 6 World Cup wins and 4 European championships. So been around for a long time.
Man, so one of the things I noticed when you ride is you combine precision with playfulness. Now, how do these two opposite worlds come together?
Well, I mean, trials is a very static sport, so if you want to overcome square obstacles, you know, you want to make it look flowy because people like to see that, and then you always like create your own style, and you just be creative and go with the flow. That's basically it, you know?
Totally. Now, Trevor has to do almost sometimes 10 shows a week for Cirque. How do you maintain staying at such a high level?
It's very hard. Sometimes I have to do like a whole week of shows at the same venue all the time, and it's tough. You know, your body aches after a while, so warm-up is key. You have to warm up very well before every show, and be smart about everything you do. You got to be really professional about it.
Well, a good warm-up and a good mental state are 2 things these guys worked on when they were first met in Montreal. Let's check it out.
One of the first cool things we ever touch as a child is a bike with training wheels. And it's your first element of freedom to be a little daredevil. Those are the first moments of like, I'm on my own. I've got this. And it's almost a similar feeling when I step out on stage. My name's Trevor Bodo, and I am a professional trial bike rider. What's happening today is we've got Red Bull in the house, here to spice up our work so far in the show VOLTA. It's going down with Kenny BELAEY, pro trials rider from Belgium, a great idol for the trial bike world.
How do you like it here?
It's amazing, man. Yeah? Can't wait to show you around.
I was pretty impressed because you're like just entering a normal office. All of a sudden, there's this 15-meter high up building with scaffolding everywhere, lights. And then the stage, that blew my mind. It was just a normal stage, and all of a sudden, this guy pushes some buttons. It's nothing that we trials rider experience ever. This is new, this is different. You really got to know what you're doing, yeah.
I think what makes Kenny very special in the trials world is that he's not only a top-level competitor, world champion, but he does his own stunt shows that have so many different crazy, extreme elements. He's got great flow. He's got such a great style.
Man, it's good to ride with someone.
My hopes for this collaboration with Kenny are to take the trial bike act here and make it smooth, flowing, exciting every day when I come onto stage.
What I always do is an explosive entree. Like, I'm here.
Yeah. Having a Red Bull artist come in, we view them as people that have reached a pinnacle of their sport. They're trendsetters. We want to be inspired and take the great moments that people have and build on those. Nice, nice. And I love the energy. I love the energy of coming in, and I love that idea of a start.
His riding is just phenomenal.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Sick line. Well, give me mountain. Give me mountain. Let's see mountain.
We have a lot of stage pieces that Trevor needs to get used to. They're moving, they go quite high up in the air, so it's definitely a challenge, even for a seasoned athlete like Trevor.
Gets from easy to higher up and more dangerous and more exciting.
It's quite a slippery surface, so we've been having a hard time with that, to get to that height with him, because it's just obviously dangerous.
I watch you ride it, and I want that feeling.
I'm borrowing Kenny's tire today.
How's the grip? Amazing, man.
So changing the tire solved that problem. It just all of a sudden became very sticky. So dang, that trick is in the bag just because of one change that came from an outside source.
His riding was already good. They already figured out a lot of the routine. I think it's just some small details that can still be adjusted.
It would almost be cool to get on this one backwards. Yeah. Just an idea, man.
No, I love it. I love it. I love it. To have Trevor be able to go in and do his work on those things, and Kenny can look back and say, but you know, you could do this, you could do that.
Just do it slow. Don't over-rotate.
All the things that they talked about were excellent and amazing little tidbits that he can take and hopefully elevate his performance in the end.
Nice, Trev. Nice.
Good.
Just to see your level hop up a notch, just like that, under pressure. That was
this is how trials works.
We noticed improvement in Trevor's performance in almost every sense of the word. You know, his technique, his confidence, his approach was almost completely different. So for us, it was like, damn, that's why we bring in professionals.
That was awesome. Very creative, physical brainstorming session with Kenny.
Trevor, all the best of luck.
Thanks, Kenny. Great ideas.
Nail it.
Great riding.
Enjoy the show.
My hope when we open the big top doors and the audience comes in and sees my act is that they leave with a wow factor of not only great performance, but the story of the show. One of the key scenes in the script we were shown was the main character with his bike as a younger version of himself on this red bike. And I've got this same picture of me and my dad when I'm like 5 years old with my red bike with my training wheels. We all have our own story. And I think this is a huge compliment to my own story. Very creative, physical brainstorming session with Kenny.
Now, athletes and performers all talk about the state of flow being really important. Now, when you were at Cirque headquarters, is it safe to say Trevor was still figuring his out?
I think it was a big challenge. It was new to him, was new to me. The floor for him with his tires at that moment was like very slippery, so he wasn't really confident. So there was a lot of challenges for him and for me to make this a great show like it is now.
Awesome. They call Trevor's part of the show Globetrotter, and there is a ton going on. Let's take a look inside the big top now as trials bike rider Trevor Badeau is about to take the stage.
You won't do it, you can't kill the time that we breathe in. You get it, you don't do it, you won't do it, you can't kill the time that we live in. You get it, you don't do it, you won't do it, you can't kill the time that we breathe in. You get it, you don't do it, you won't do it, you can't kill the time that we live in.
Wow, that is absolutely insane. Now, I gotta ask you, Kenny, what do you think about Trevor's progress since you guys first met at Cirque?
Yeah, it's mind-blowing. If you see how confident he was in the show, and then if you compare it to the first moments in the rehearsals, yeah, you can't even recognize him. It's a great job, Trevor. Yeah.
Well, it's amazing to see that. Now, what you guys do is so technical, and I don't really understand what's going on. And I'm sure myself and the audience would love if you could break down a couple of the moves in Trevor's routine for us.
Yeah, trials is all in the details. So here you see him jumping on the first block, and then he goes straight into a nose manual. So the thing is here, he has to create like the first thing he has to create like speed and just in one hop, so in one pedal kick, and then he has to go straight to nose manual. And so he's staying on the front wheel as soon as he lands, staying on the front wheel, and then just ride it down all the way to the bottom. So it's important to like lever your progressive braking is very important. So you gotta know what you're doing, and yeah, it's super hard to do it in a live show actually. So yeah, big up that he chose the one trick that we trained on together.
Thanks for the insight, Kenny. Joining us fresh off the stage, trials bike rider Trevor Badeau. Hey, what's up, Trevor? Thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys for coming to the show.
Man, you just absolutely killed it on stage. The crowd was going crazy. Does it ever get old, that buzzer performing?
Oh, man, there's no way. Even it all starts way before I'm on stage. The build-up, I'm usually backstage waiting one act before and just starting to get my eyes adjusted, my senses adjusted, hearing the crowd already roaring from the act before. And when I hear my music queuing up, you know, that feeling starts going, the adrenaline starts going. you know it's game time. Yeah, it begins right there for sure.
Yeah, I guess having people cheer for you doesn't suck. Now, we were with you when you were at the beginning of the creation of your routine, and now that you're actually on stage night to night, does anything change?
What has changed? A lot has changed, but more so just your connection to the show, and you start feeling like you can experiment with your energy on the stage and start connecting with individual people and just feel the story, feel the riding, and yeah, you become more free as the time goes on and the show becomes more yours in a way.
That's cool. Now, I have no idea how you do anything that you do, but I gotta ask, what's the most difficult part of your routine?
The most difficult part? Well, some of the stunts are pretty tricky, but part of it is definitely managing like your excitement and just your adrenaline on stage. The other part is the stage itself. As you saw, it's a beast, man. This thing is so unique. The platforms are something like just completely unnatural that a rider has ever been on. They move, they shake, they twist, the humidity changes a lot of factors too. So aside from dealing with that, you know, coming off of the 8-foot platform down to the 4-foot, managing the wobble on the stage, and then getting ready for the dismounts off. Yeah, that's pretty good because your heart rate's already at 120, 130, and everything's pumping. The crowd is moving. The music is blaring. It's awesome, man. It's a rush.
Well, you make it look super easy, man. Thanks a lot, Trevor, and good luck with the rest of VOLTA, man.
Pleasure. Thank you. Ride safe, guys.
Now, we're gonna stick with 2 wheels, but we're gonna go from the very precise world of trials to a sport with a reputation for being a little faster and freer, BMX park. Joining us now is BMX performer Ryan Guzman and athletic therapist Jeremy Rice. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Ryan, it's been a hell of a journey since you started. How did it all begin with VOLTA?
The way it began with me is I did the 2015 Pan Am Games opening ceremony with Cirque du Soleil. So that's kind of how I got my foot in the door with the company. And then after that, they called me for a workshop for this show. And then we did the workshop, and it went super, super well. And then I came, after the workshop, I came to the HQ for the creation process. And then, yeah, now I'm here.
Awesome.
And life's great.
Now, was there ever a point along the journey where you thought, man, I'm not really cut out for this?
Absolutely, absolutely, man. You know, when I left home to go live in Montreal for the creation, I was 18, and that was like my first real, like not only was it my first time living alone by myself, it was also my first like real job, you know, that wasn't a summer job. So, you know, adapting to like have a routine every day and wake up at the same time, at the same time as becoming a performer and, you know, like an athlete and stuff like that. It was really, really like a really fast and hard switch from like kid to adult real fast. So,
yeah. So learning choreography and life lessons all at the same time.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
Now, anyone that's a practitioner of the sport knows that injuries are unfortunately a part of it. Now, I heard you're currently on the DL. What happened?
I was in a show, and I fell during a show, and I was doing a trick called a flare, and it's a trick on the quarter pipe where it's like a backflip 180. Okay. And I usually do a really high one at the end of the show. And on this one, I didn't pull, like just by a little bit, and my back wheel hung up on the top of the ramp, and I went just straight to my face, and I was knocked out. They had to stop the show and everything. And I ended up breaking my hand, and unfortunately I needed surgery, which took a while to recover. But thankfully, I had this guy to come save me on the stage. I woke up just looking at his chin like, okay, that's Jeremy. Why am I on my back right now? I was riding a second ago, I'm pretty sure, so yeah, it happens, unfortunately.
Man, so Jeremy, one of your jobs here at VOLTA is to ensure that the athletes remain healthy. Yep. How's Ryan's rehab going, and when can we expect to see him riding again?
It's going really well. Our performance medicine team here was mainly responsible for the acute care of it, like right after it happened, emergency room, dragging him off stage. And then he went home, he had his operation, and he went back to headquarters, and they give them credit for the meat of the rehab. They got him integrated back onto the ramps. Then we received him back at the show not long ago, and now we're just really slowly managing his workload, make sure his conditioning's up to sustain 10 shows a week, and being sensitive to the type of BMX rider he is. He's highly volatile, he tries a lot of things fast, so but yeah, everything's going very well. He should be on the stage really soon.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait to see you back out there, man. 6 months ago when you started your journey in Montreal, there were a few doubts, but before we get to see if all the planning and hours of rehearsal paid off, let's take a look at where this journey all started.
Au début, c'est quand ils sont arrivés, comme on m'a dit, est-ce que tu veux faire le Cirque du Soleil?
Tu sais, ça a été quand même straight comme ça. La première réponse que j'ai dit, c'est non.
The first time we saw them, I was a little scared.
They call us the bad boy in the neighborhood, but they don't necessarily say it to us.
They're like children. When you're coming from the world of sport, you're in a different mindset, and we have to transfer that into a performing mindset, turning them into an artist.
I'm AJ Anai, and I'm a part of the BMX act for the VOLTA show. I feel like VOLTA is going to be completely different from what I'm used to or what the audience is used to.
They're going to be the first people from BMX history to do a show with Cirque. So it's important that they elevate their level.
The riders that I'm working with are a bunch of little Canucks. They're all much younger, but they have plenty to offer.
Oh, hey!
When they're on their bikes in the air, it's fantastic what they do. It's unbelievable, some of the tricks that they do. They defy gravity. But then they all finish this ride and they just come and sit down and just chill on their bikes.
Be in character from the time that you come in. If you can see somebody, they can see you.
We've come to find that's actually the hardest part of our act is just sitting like a character.
Ryan goes up, boom, down.
We practice this stuff over and over and over.
And up, and up. Better.
Plus ça va aller, plus que ça va être sur les deux personnes, mais les deux côtés vont savoir ce que les autres ont besoin.
Yeah, Joel! What?
They have their act, which is their big piece of pie, but then they also have cues that they have to either come in on stage and do a position and leave, and all that has to be done within character work.
There's a lot of stuff going on all at once.
1, 2. They're teaching you dance classes, acting classes.
Go! You know, the first dance class, oh my God. I said, okay, let's go. Stand by, position, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they look at me like if I'm an alien. I say, what's wrong? So that's the beginning. Okay, let's start.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It was rough. It was really rough. In your class, you have to act like a crocodile on the floor, act like a lady. If my friends would see me in this class, they would laugh so hard and judge me for sure.
They're just laughing and look at each other and
Ben, des fois, j'ai l'impression qu'on devrait plus écouter ce qu'on nous dit que qu'est-ce qu'on fait, mais on est comme ça. Le BMX, c'est comme ça. C'est un sport qui... Je sais pas, si tu fais du BMX parce que tu voulais pas faire des sports d'équipe ou des sports que t'es coaché, fait...
No cell phone. Good boy. Say, okay, wow. How we can make them better? Because I want a good choreography. We start from the beginning. We just explain what is 5, 6, 7, 8, because they have no clue about that. Just the beat of the music. Ah, the beat of the music. We keep the beat of the music. Okay, yes.
And 1, 2, 3, 4.
Step by step, and we take a damn, and we a lot of love.
Tac, 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 tac.
And suddenly, whew, something happened.
Yes, you're free. Yes, you're free. Beautiful. Yes, give up.
We're out here, we're doing it, you know,
Yeah.
we're becoming
And you
performers.
are on stage with dancer. Someone beside you, they are a dancer, and you are there with them.
We're not doing too bad.
Yeah, but it's not done, huh? Woo.
Oh, we have
no.
a long,
No.
long road.
They've been amazing. They just bit into everything we threw at them. They worked very hard, and they've been committed to everything. They made us laugh, they made us cry, and they're just an awesome, energetic part of the team now.
Get it, Joel! Yeah!
On a toujours une idée du cirque, c'est genre des clowns et trucs comme ça, mais c'est vraiment pas ça du tout. Puis je trouve ça cool de pouvoir vivre l'expérience du cirque.
I feel like I'm gonna get real purdy in a minute.
Applying makeup and wearing different costumes to ride and to do their performance is a step in the creation process.
This is how I go from athlete to performer.
Now that they represent this group, they're not just an individual, they're the group, and the group is the show. At the end of the day, we all want to elevate ourselves, we all want to get better.
What?
Now, it hasn't been an easy road to get to this place. We're talking about 28 weeks of training, 1,200 hours of rehearsal, and tons of expectations all leading up to this moment right now. And behind me, the BMXers are just about to take the stage. Wow, that was so sick, guys. I never imagined I'd see BMX ramps and riders in a Cirque show. They absolutely killed it and had the entire audience on their feet to finish out tonight's show. Now, the show has just ended, and the energy backstage is absolutely insane. As you guys saw, Cirque doesn't just do the ordinary. With its reputation, it only allows for greatness and constantly pushing the boundaries of performance art. And after seeing tonight's show, I think it's clear that sports like parkour, BMX, and slacklining have earned their place in a show of this magnitude. Now, from the artistic directors to the engineers, choreographers to the performers, everyone has something to be proud of. Now, there is one thing that is for sure. VOLTA is blowing minds.